Hello, I'm Aretha. This time, the new face of the new Extreme Sisters released on April 12th. Verifying Extreme Grease Ultimate Ultraviolet. I think the name is too long. Please note that this is a simple verification. However, these days, it is becoming difficult to know where simple verification ends and where serious verification begins. This time as well, I have prepared a comparison target, although it is not many. SMZ01R as a reference point. It seems like it's a bit of an underdog role now, but I'll use it again this time. And some from the Extreme Sisters, Normal, Ultimate. Also, this time as a special frame. I am also comparing Ultimate Red. This is handled a little differently, so I'll talk about it in more detail later. Now the main character. Introducing Extreme Grease Ultimate Ultraviolet. From now on, it will be called Violet. As I mentioned earlier, it was released on April 12, 2024. Clockwork's Tea Party has released scented grease for some time. Apples and strawberries. The violet this time is osmanthus. Osmanthus. I don't remember what it was like. Moreover, unfortunately I am suffering from hay fever. My nose is dying. I knew there was a smell, but I wasn't sure what it was. When I checked with my wife, she said it smelled like osmanthus, so I think it probably has a nice fragrance. Up until now, we have not covered apples and strawberries on this channel. The reason is that I thought it would be the same as a normal product with just a scent. I didn't feel like checking it out, so I ignored it. This time, while having a slightly higher thermal conductivity than the Ultimate, there was an official announcement that it was easier to apply than Ultimate. Really? I bought it thinking that. I'll tell you later whether that's actually the case. All the greases tested on this channel are purchased with my own money. There is no need to look at the manufacturer's complexion. I will openly share my personal impressions based on actual data. Please keep this in mind when viewing. Now that we have established the precautionary line, we will start explaining the verification method, etc. This is an explanation of the verification environment. CPU is Intel Core i7-14700KF. The CPU cooler is Shenzhen Fluence Technology CPSDE 360. Everything else is as described. BIOS settings default to load optimized and PL2 settings to 253 watts. As for the verification method, load is applied using Prime 95 on Windows 11. The test settings are as follows. Test core is 18 cores. Enable hyperthreading. Load is small FFT. Uncheck the two checkboxes for E-core in the relationship settings from the process details of the task manager. We will apply load with this setting. Regarding evaluation, in this state, apply the load for 10 minutes. Calculate the average value based on the log data for 5 minutes retroactively from when the load stopped, and perform the evaluation based on that value. Let's quickly check the various data. It will skip ahead, so please pause if you want to watch it carefully. Now, let's talk about SMZ01R, which is the usual representative of another manufacturer. If it's used in comparison too many times, I'll end up with nothing to talk about. I have something to talk about this time. There was talk at a certain X about wanting to release a new model RS around the cherry blossom season, but the cherry blossom season is coming to an end. I would like to use it in the next battle without honor, so it would be helpful if it would be released soon. I predict that adjusting the room temperature will become more difficult in the summer. I want to do it early. Its performance as a grease is fair to poor. Next is Extreme Grease. This time I failed to verify this grease and had a hard time. There was an incident that made me think that the D360's crimp was getting weaker, and if I applied it too thinly, the corners of the CPU often did not come into contact with the cooler. There are many possibilities, such as whether the force of the screws on the DE360 is not uniform to begin with, or whether it has become damaged after being attached and removed many times, but it is becoming more difficult to verify than before. I'm wondering whether I should buy Liquid Freezer 360. However, with the Gigabyte motherboard, the center of the CPU core is firmly in contact with the cooler, so I don't think there will be any problems caused by warping. The performance of grease remains cost-effective. Next up is Extreme Grease Ultimate. Is this the best comparison target? We recommend warming this grease before applying it. Actually, it's quite difficult to apply a thin layer unless you warm it up. I think the safest way is to just write an X on the CPU and crimp it. I don't think you need to heat it if you use this method. Violet is said to be softer and has higher thermal conductivity than this grease, but I will explain the results later. Next up is Extreme Grease Ultimate Red. In this data, instead of applying a thin layer of CPU grease on the spreader, grease is applied in an X shape and crimped. Furthermore, I used it regularly for a while in that state. Therefore, the prerequisites are different from other greases, so it is a violation of regulations. Therefore, please consider this result as a reference record. I have used this grease in various ways since the last test, but it never reaches the ultimate temperature. This time I'm pretty close, but I'm still losing. I have a lot of thoughts on this, but I think that in our environment we cannot bring out the potential of this grease. I feel like it would work if I crimped it with an incredible force. Now, the main character this time is Extreme Grease Ultimate Ultraviolet. First, let's talk about temperature. There is a difference of about 0.1 from Ultimate. I don't think the cooling performance will change much. Next is ease of application. It is certainly softer than Ultimate. However, I think it is better to avoid applying it without heating it up. And once you warm it up, you can't tell the difference between it and the Ultimate. I'm sure some of you are thinking that Ultimate is fine. I think so too. Well, I expected it to some extent. By the way, I think Steve from Nexus was joking and said that you could turn your computer into an aroma diffuser. You can't do that. After fixing the CPU cooler, there is no smell anymore. If you really want to use it as an aroma diffuser, sprinkle some fragrance oil on unglazed pottery and place it inside your computer. Now that we have all the results, let's compare them. This time it's Violet, but I felt it wasn't much different from Ultimate in terms of cooling performance and ease of application. The data hasn't changed much either. I think if you insist on applying it without heating it up, Violet will be the winner. I do it with the mentality that if it's hard, just warm it up, so I think I'm probably wasting the good points of Violet. Well, I expected it to be like this. What I am most concerned about is the price. Of course, there are some things that can't be helped due to the recent weak yen situation, but there is a considerable price difference between Violet and Ultimate. Ultimate is 1,780 yen. Violet is 2,280 yen. The difference is 500 yen. However, there were many shops where the price was 2,380 yen. There was also a store where it was 2,580 yen. My impression is that when the price reaches this level, it is difficult to say that the grease has good cost performance. I think Extreme Grease is usually very cost effective. Grease with performance equivalent to or better than SMZ01R costs approximately 223 yen per gram. SMZ01R is the most cost-effective 10 grams product, but the price per gram is approximately 300 yen. Considering this, I thought Extreme Grease was very good, but I don't think I have the same impression about Violet. I think it has a strong element of being a collectible item. This may have been a bit of a harsh evaluation, but this is my honest opinion. That's all for the verification of Extreme Grease Ultimate Ultraviolet. A little off topic, but I would like to talk about the second grease war without humanity. We have collected the grease requested based on the previous video, and currently we are waiting for the release of the RS, which we definitely want to include in the verification target. Once it's released, we may do a simple test on it alone. New thermometers, changes in benchmark testing methods, etc. There are many changes planned. If you are interested, please subscribe to the channel and wait. Thank you for watching till the end.